I thought I was gonna have the healthiest, most active, fit pregnancy ever. But after my first trimester, I realized how wrong I was. I am currently 13 weeks pregnant, which is just wrapping up my first trimester, and I thought I would give you guys a recap of my expectations versus reality of what happened over these last 13 weeks. It's been such a learning experience, and I'm going to share with you exactly how I approached food, fitness, workouts, and everything else during this time. So during the first trimester, as many of you know, many women get struck with A, extreme fatigue, and B, nausea. I had both. The fatigue was unlike anything I've ever experienced. Y'all, I have competed in a bikini bodybuilding contest where I was working out twice a day for hours, barely eating anything, getting shredded, and I thought that was exhausting. Pregnancy first trimester was 10 times more exhausting than that. I would take prepping for another bikini bodybuilding contest over first trimester any day. The exhaustion was so rough for me. I felt like I had been hit by a truck like every single day, and I had just never felt that way. It was very surprising. I often just didn't want to leave my bed. It was so hard to wake up. Was taking a lot of naps during the daytime. I've heard that things get better in the second trimester, so let's see. My fingers are crossed, and I'll keep you guys posted in a few weeks how I'm feeling. So on top of that exhaustion, there was also nausea. Many people know morning sickness. Well, it actually turns out that in the first trimester, many people have all the time sickness, and that's what I had too. I soon found out, though, that it was very related to my blood sugar. When my blood sugar dropped, I would get extremely nauseous. My nausea would skyrocket. And so with some tweaks to my nutrition, which I'll talk about, I found out how to manage the nausea and keep it at bay, although it wasn't 100%. So when I was feeling this way, when I was exhausted and nauseous and fatigued and just mentally also, I had some brain fog and didn't feel as mentally sharp as normal, it was really hard to stay on top of my fitness routine and typical nutrition routine. So when it came to fitness, originally before I got pregnant, I was doing 4 strength workouts a week and then 2 or 3 cardio sessions, depending on the week. I am actually signed up for a High Rocks race in November, which I signed up for before I got pregnant. And so I was imagining that over the last 12 weeks, I would be training for that and running regularly and doing all this fitness stuff. And I genuinely thought I could keep up my routine as normal, but I was so wrong. So once this exhaustion started kicking in, I made a couple of modifications to my workout routine. First, I dropped the cardio altogether. The first couple weeks I was able to keep it up, but after that, I genuinely felt like my body just did not have the extra energy to expend on cardio exercise. So I focused on steps. I tried to hit 7K steps a day. I think 10K would have been ideal, but most of the days there was just no way I could do that with my energy levels. So I figured, something is better than nothing. 7K, some days it was 6K. It was still better than 2K steps a day, which is what sometimes wanted to do and sometimes did. So I just focused on steps. I cut out the cardio. I did continue strength training, which I am really proud of myself for, but I modified my workouts a lot. So pre-pregnancy, I was doing maybe 4 sets of every move, 10 to 12 reps. Now, once I was pregnant, I had to really conserve my energy. And so I dropped the volume. I did 2 to 3 sets of everything, still 10 to 12 moves. I lowered the intensity a little bit. Prior to pregnancy, I was really pushing hard, often going to failure or very close to it, which is required for building muscle, right? I was really trying to put on muscle mass. And in order to do that, you have to push yourself to cause little micro tears in your muscle fibers. When you rest, they rebuild and grow stronger. So in this first trimester, however, I had to switch that mindset to, okay, we are not trying to progress a lot and trying to build muscle. The goal is just maintenance and survival mode. And so I dropped the intensity. On a scale of 1 to 10, I was going maybe a 7 in the intensity versus before it was maybe an 8 or a 9. So lower intensity, lower volume, and then I did fewer exercises per session. So again, lower volume. Normally I would do maybe 2 or 3 compound moves and 2 accessory moves. During this first trimester, I had to adapt that to maybe 2 to 3 exercises at most. 3 was usually the most I could handle without feeling wiped out at the end. So I usually did 2 compounds and 1 accessory, or sometimes if I really felt up for it, I would do 3 compound moves. So I am really proud that I kept up my strength training. That being said, there were definitely some days days where I just had to leave the gym early. I felt nauseous in the middle of my workout. I literally went to the bathroom and puked in the middle of my workout and then left. And there was also a day where I got to the gym, tried to do something, literally could not do anything, and went straight back home. So it was a combination of pushing myself a little bit to do something instead of nothing, but also learning to really listen to my body, give it the rest that it needed, and allow it that chill time to focus and divert its energy towards growing this human and all of the extra expenditure that that's taking. So fitness-wise, I felt like I was just sort of in survival mode, keeping the lights on. Oh, one more thing I did was I tried to time my caffeine intake around my gym workouts. So some women cut out caffeine completely during pregnancy. So what I would do is basically have half of that in the morning and then half of that in the evening. So I'd have a small cup of coffee in the morning, which was about 100 milligrams. My husband actually measures out the coffee on like a food scale, and so we know exactly how much caffeine roughly is in it. And in the afternoon before my gym workout, I'd have an espresso shot, which is I think around 70 milligrams. So I timed it that way so that right before my workout, I had a little bit of an extra energy boost, and I think that helped too. So that was how I approached fitness these last 12 weeks. Really, the goal was survival mode and maintenance, and just really embracing this mindset of something instead of nothing. A lot of women, just rest the entire first trimester and don't do anything, and I totally get it. Like, if that's what you need to do, then that's what you need to do. There was definitely a week where I did absolutely nothing. Week 12, I was just completely wiped out. I did not go to the gym even once. I think my step count was like 3K on average a day. So I get it, and first trimester is rough. I think whatever you got to do to survive is what you got to do. Let's talk about nutrition. Now, I am certified in pre- and postnatal fitness, and in my course, I learned that in the first trimester, you're not really supposed to need extra calories. You're supposed to basically eat at your maintenance levels. However, my body thought differently. The first few weeks of pregnancy, I was so hungry. Nobody prepared me for how hungry I would be. I actually tracked my calories a few days here and there just for science. I was curious, and I was eating 3,000 calories a day for those first few weeks. 2,700 to 3,000. For reference, my maintenance is around 2,200. So I was eating a lot because I just was so hungry all the time. I think my body just needed that extra fuel. So if you are somebody who also experienced that, know that that's normal. All of our bodies are so different. And one of the biggest things I've learned in this journey so far is that recommendations from doctors, textbooks, general guidelines are really based on averages. There's so much variation in female bodies that no general one-size-fits-all guideline can take that into account. And so if your body needs extra fuel, it needs extra fuel. In the beginning, I did experience some cravings for like chips, crunchy, salty things, carbs. However, over time, I realized that some of those cravings were actually due to my blood sugar being low. So I think since my body was burning through fuel so fast, I would eat and then my blood sugar would dip. I'd get really hungry, have a bag of chips, my blood sugar would spike and then dip. Then I would get hungry again. And that hunger would manifest as these like cravings. And if I didn't eat, I would get nauseous. So after a while, I actually decided to wear this blood sugar monitor, a CGM. I have an Insta reel all about it. I'll link it below. And wearing this taught me how much my nausea was correlated to my blood sugar. So once I started learning how to keep my blood sugar more stable with balanced meals, a lot of fiber, eating my protein and fiber first before simple carbs, that helped manage my hunger and keep the nausea at bay. So that was a huge learning around nutrition. And like I said, I have an Insta reel all about this. I'll link it below in the show notes. After those first few weeks, my appetite did regulate and I've been eating a little bit closer to my maintenance range. I'm not tracking my calories every day. Sometimes I will just here and there to see if I'm curious and also just make sure I'm eating enough. And I am eating around my maintenance range, some days a little higher. I do find that if I eat below, so the other day, for example, I ate 1,800 calories, my maintenance is 2,200. I woke up in the middle of the night starving and I had to go eat a midnight snack at like 2 a.m. So sometimes I will track my food just to make sure I'm eating enough and that I don't have these blood sugar drops in the middle of the night. Mostly though, I have been eating intuitively. I am somebody, my profession is related to nutrition. I've been tracking my food for years. I know kind of how to eat intuitively and how to build balanced meals. So that's definitely a really, really helpful skill that I've built over the years and can rely on now. Nutrition-wise, something that's really surprised me is I have such an ick for sweet things. Before pregnancy, I had such a sweet tooth. I love dessert. I would eat dessert basically every day, even if it was just something small. But now, if I even have like one bite, I just get overwhelmed by this sweet. sweetness, and I have such an ick from it. On the converse, I'm really wanting spicy food, like very, very spicy. Like my mouth needs to be paralyzed spicy. The normal level of spice that I used to eat before does not cut it. I need like 10x that. Otherwise, everything just tastes too sweet. So that's like something I wasn't expecting, and I don't know what that means, if it means anything for the baby or whatnot. Some people have said that means it's going to be a boy, it means it's going to be a girl or whatnot. I actually know the gender, so I will let you guys know if that's correct once I reveal that. And then the last thing that surprised me with nutrition is that sometimes I'll have these like growth days where I think the baby is having like a growth spurt, and on those days I will just be so hungry and so exhausted. And so I've just been taking it day by day, listening to my body, eating intuitively, trying to eat mostly like whole nutrient dense foods, trying to keep blood sugar stable. But that's really been how I've been thinking about nutrition during this time. I have gained about 10 pounds so far. This was another thing that in my pregnancy textbook, I was taught you're only supposed to gain 0 to 5 pounds in the first trimester, but my body needed to gain more. And so that is what it is. I'm not worried about it. I'm not stressed about it. I really believe that you gain what you need to gain. And I know that I've been nourishing my body, moving as much as I can, and I'm confident it'll taper out or stabilize out, even out in the end. So that is a recap of my first trimester. I have been really focusing on maintenance, survival mode. I don't want to jinx anything, but I feel like I'm slowly starting to feel a little bit more energized. I had a great leg day on Monday for the first time in a long time, and I'm really hoping that that second trimester energy boost is around the corner. If you are navigating pregnancy or trying to conceive right now and need help navigating your nutrition and fitness, then I want you to know that we are here to help. I'd love to invite you to work with us, my team and I, inside the Boss Body Revolution. I run a coaching company that helps South Asian women transform their bodies sustainably. So we help women lose body fat, build muscle, get fitter, optimize their nutrition if they're trying to conceive, and overall just create a healthy lifestyle. We work with women through all stages, whether that is pre-pregnancy, during pregnancy, postpartum, menopause. We are experts in women's health with a lot of certifications and education across our team. So if you are looking for support, then click the link below and apply to work with us. Other than that, make sure you're following along my journey on Instagram. I share a lot more about my pregnancy behind the scenes over there, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.